Have you ever wondered why money seems to behave differently for different people? This question may seem strange at first, but if you stop to think about it, you'll realize that money is not just a mathematical concept. It's a human one. It's a reflection of our values, our fears, our ambitions, and our history. Everyone has a unique relationship with money. Some view it as a tool for achieving their dreams, while others see it as a necessary evil. Some people are comfortable taking risks in the hopes of achieving greater financial success, while others prefer to play it safe, protecting what they have. This divergence isn't due to a lack of knowledge or understanding about money. It's about our behaviors, our attitudes, and our experiences. Our relationship with money is influenced by our personal history. Each of us has a unique story that shapes our perceptions and behaviors. For instance, someone who grew up in a household where money was scarce might be more cautious with their finances, while someone who never had to worry about money might be more willing to take financial risks. Our ego and pride also play a role in our financial decisions. We might choose to buy a more expensive car or house not because we need it, but because we want to show others that we are successful. On the other hand, fear can make us overly cautious, preventing us from taking calculated risks that could lead to greater financial success. But here's the catch. Financial success isn't just about knowledge, it's about behavior. You could have all the financial knowledge in the world, but if you let your ego, pride, or fear dictate your decisions, you might not achieve the financial success you desire. So the next time you're making a financial decision, take a moment to reflect. Are you making this decision based on cold, hard facts? Or is your decision influenced by your emotions and personal history? Remember, money is more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a dance between cold arithmetic and human nature. Ever considered how our upbringing and experiences shape our perspective on money? Let's venture into this fascinating facet of our relationship with finance. Imagine you were born in the 70s. As a teenager and young adult, you witnessed the S&P 500 skyrocket almost 10 times over. Your formative years were marked by a booming stock market, creating a positive impression and a higher inclination to invest. Now picture a different scenario. Suppose you were born in the 50s. In your teens and 20s, the stock market was stagnant, leading to a more pessimistic view and a reduced inclination to invest. Let's switch gears and think about inflation. Those born in the 60s experienced significant inflation during their formative years, leading to a heightened awareness and a more negative view of inflation and its effects. However, those born in the 90s, who experienced low inflation during their lifetime, are less concerned and aware of its effects. These two examples illustrate how a person's experience with the stock market and inflation during their formative years can greatly shape their attitudes and behaviors towards investing and financial decision-making. Our financial decisions are justified based on the information we have at the time and our mental model of the world. This mental model is inherited from our parents and molded by our unique life experiences. Although we can be misinformed, lack information, or make poor decisions, our actions make sense to us in that moment and align with our personal narratives. We all have unique worldviews, and since there is no universally correct way to manage money successfully, none of us are crazy. We make financial decisions based on our personal life experiences and our worldview. Financial decisions often aren't made purely on logical or mathematical grounds, but are influenced by our unique experiences and worldview. It's essential to be wary of one-size-fits-all financial advice. What may seem irrational to others could make perfect sense to you based on your unique experiences and worldview. Our formative experiences greatly shape our attitudes and behaviors towards money. So remember, when it comes to money, we're all dancing to our own unique tune. Why do people make the financial decisions they do? It's a question that often leaves us puzzled, especially when we observe someone making choices that seem perplexing or irrational to us. But here's a thought. What if these decisions aren't irrational at all, but rather a reflection of that person's unique story and worldview? Think about it. Each of us has a unique life journey that shapes our perspective on money. We're all products of our individual histories. Our parents' earnings, the values they instilled in us, the economic environment we were born into, and the opportunities we've had, all of these factors contribute to our unique financial narrative. For instance, let's take two individuals. One grew up in a household where money was scarce and every penny was accounted for. The other was raised in an environment where money was plentiful and financial security was never a concern. The former might be more inclined to save, viewing each dollar as precious and hard-earned. The latter, on the other hand, might have a more liberal attitude towards spending, seeing money as a resource that's always available. To each of these individuals, their financial behaviors make perfect sense. They're acting in accordance with their personal histories and worldviews. But what about when we make mistakes? Even then, our decisions are often justifiable from our perspective. Perhaps we lacked crucial information, or maybe we were misinformed. Regardless, at that moment, our choices align with our understanding of the world. This is not to say we can't learn and grow. Of course we can. But it's essential to acknowledge that our financial decisions are deeply personal and often tied to our unique experiences. Just because someone else doesn't understand our choices, it doesn't mean they're irrational. It simply means they're viewing our decisions through a different lens. So the next time you find yourself puzzled by someone's financial choices, or even your own, remember this. Financial decisions are often a reflection of our unique experiences and worldview. Understanding this can lead to greater empathy, less judgment, and perhaps a more nuanced approach to our own financial journey. Is there a one-size-fits-all approach to managing money, you might ask? The answer is a resounding no. We've established that our unique life experiences and worldviews shape our financial decisions. But does this mean that what seems irrational to one person could make perfect sense to another? Absolutely. Let's imagine a scenario. Two friends, Jane and John, both had the same amount of money to invest. Jane, whose parents lost their savings in the stock market crash, decided to put her money into a savings account. John, whose parents had always talked about the wonders of investing, put his money into the stock market. Now, to an outsider, Jane's decision might seem irrational. Why not take the potential for higher returns? But to Jane, based on her personal experiences and the lessons learned from her parents, it made perfect sense. This scenario highlights that there's no universal financial advice that works for everyone. We all have different attitudes towards risk, different financial goals, and different life experiences that shape our decisions. So what may seem like a wise investment to one person could be seen as too risky by another. Remember, our individual financial decisions are not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. They're about our personal histories, attitudes, and beliefs. They're about the dinner table conversations we had growing up, the lessons we learned from our parents, and the experiences we've had throughout our lives. So the next time someone tries to give you a one-size-fits-all piece of financial advice, remember Jane and John. Remember that what works for one person might not work for another. Remember that what seems irrational to one person might make perfect sense to another, based on their unique experiences and worldview. In the end, it's about understanding your own financial behavior, learning from your experiences, and making decisions that align with your personal goals and values. It's about finding what works for you, not what works for everyone else. Be wary of one-size-fits-all financial advice. What works for you may not work for others. Ever wondered how Warren Buffett amassed his fortune? Well, it's a story that begins with a young boy and a curious mind. At the tender age of 10, Buffett made his first investment. Yes, 10. His journey into the world of finance started earlier than most, and this has had a profound impact on his success. Buffett didn't just dabble in investments, he immersed himself in it. He read every book he could find on the subject, honed his skills, and developed a deep understanding of the market. His early start allowed him to leverage a powerful financial principle: compounding. But what is compounding, you ask? Well, that's a topic for our next scene, so let's focus on Buffett for now. Warren Buffett was not just a good investor, he was a consistent one. He stayed in the game, investing year after year, decade after decade. His fortune didn't come from a few lucky breaks. It was the result of consistent, calculated decisions made over a long period of time. In fact, the majority of Buffett's wealth was accumulated after he reached his mid-60s. Now, that's not to say he wasn't successful in his younger years. But the real explosion in his net worth came later in his life, a testament to the power of compounding and the importance of patience in investing. Buffett's story is a powerful example of how financial success isn't about quick wins or overnight successes. It's about understanding the principles of investing, applying them consistently, and giving them time to work their magic. This approach is not exclusive to Buffett. It's available to anyone willing to start early, learn consistently, and stay patient. And remember, Buffett's fortune isn't due to just being a good investor, but being a good investor since he was literally a child. His story serves as a reminder that time is the most valuable asset when it comes to investing. So, what exactly is compounding? It's a term often thrown around in financial discussions, but let's simplify it. Compounding in the context of finance is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow, growing larger and faster with each turn. Imagine you have $100. You decide to invest this sum in a venture that promises an annual return of 10%. At the end of the year, your $100 would have grown to $110. That's the initial investment of $100, plus a 10% return. Now here's where the magic of compounding comes into play. In the second year, you don't just earn 10% on your original $100. Instead, you earn 10% on the total sum of $110. So, at the end of the second year, your investment would have grown to $121. By the third year, you're earning 10% on $121, not just the original 100. This process continues year after year, with each year's earnings becoming part of the investment that earns interest in the next year. It's growth on top of growth, like that snowball rolling down the hill. Now imagine this process stretched over 20, 30, or even 40 years. The numbers can become quite astounding. This is the power of compounding, the ability for an investment to grow exponentially over time, as earnings from previous years are reinvested. But remember, compounding isn't just about time, it's also about the rate of return. The higher the rate, the faster your investment grows. And the more frequently your earnings are compounded, the greater the growth. That's why it's so important to start investing early and consistently. The more time your money has to compound, the more potential it has to grow. But, as with all financial decisions, it's crucial to do your homework and make informed choices. Compounding is a powerful financial tool that, when understood and used wisely, can lead to substantial financial growth. So, what have we learned about the human side of money? We've peeled back the curtain to reveal that money isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet or an equation to be solved. It's an intricate dance between cold arithmetic and the warmth of human nature. It's the intertwining of ego, pride, fear, and personal history around dinner tables, far away from calculators. We've explored the idea that the true nature of money is deeply rooted in our personal experiences. Our generation, the values of our parents, our geographic location, the economic environment we were born into, all these factors shape our unique perspectives and attitudes towards money. For instance, we discussed how the stock market and inflation experiences of different generations have influenced their attitudes and behaviors towards investing. Those born in the 70s, who saw a tenfold increase in the S&P 500 during their formative years, generally have a positive view of the stock market and a higher inclination to invest. On the contrary, those born in the 50s, who saw the stock market stagnate, tend to have a less favorable view and less inclination to invest. Similarly, we examined how people's experience with inflation during their formative years greatly influences their views and behaviors towards financial decision-making. Those born in the 60s, who experienced significant inflation, tend to have a higher awareness and a more negative view of inflation and its effects. Conversely, those born in the 90s, who experienced relatively low inflation, tend to have less concern and awareness of its effects. We've also delved into the realization that financial decisions are often not made purely on logical or mathematical grounds. Instead, they are shaped by our unique experiences and worldview. We make financial decisions based on our personal life experiences and our worldview. It's important to remember that what might seem illogical to others could make perfect sense to us, based on our personal history and experiences. We also considered the story of Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. A staggering $81.5 billion of his $84.5 billion net worth was earned after he reached his mid-60s. We learned that his fortune isn't due to just being a good investor, but being a good investor since he was literally a child. His story highlights the power of compounding, a simple but often overlooked principle of investing. In conclusion, understanding the human side of money is essential if we wish to master it. It's not just about how much we know, but how we behave. Our financial decisions are influenced by a complex web of personal experiences, historical contexts, and unique worldviews. To truly master money, we must first understand its human side and how our behaviors and experiences shape our relationship with it.